Hi there, I'm Matt. I'm the founder of NCC, which is National Custom Compounding. This is our Capsule Conversation, which is really just one-on-one chat with an NCC team member to learn all things about them and what they think about compounding and how they go about their day-to-day and week-to-week role. The guest we've got today is a really experienced pharmacist. He's joined us in the last 12 months, been a great asset to the team, brings with him lots of experience. So I'm really excited to chat today to Bruce. Please stick around. And as always, if you like what we do, shoot us some feedback. If you're out there and you'd love a conversation with me in the capsule, our Capsule Conversations, just let me know. All right, thanks so much. Have a great day. So thank you, Bruce. Thank you for joining us for our third episode of
You're welcome.
Capsule Conversation. So like we were chatting before, the idea is that we're just building these for team members to learn a bit more about yourself. And I'm really excited to hear about your journey. You've got some most fascinating locations that you've worked at and run and owned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Long career in pharmacy.
Yeah, awesome. So look, to open the batting, just tell us a bit more about yourself.
Okay, so I'm married. I have 2 children. I have 2 fat beagles. Well, actually, one fat one skinny one. I've lived on the Gold Coast most of my life, and I've been in pharmacy since I graduated in 1984.
Awesome. And has things changed a little since then?
Significantly, yeah. First pharmacy was typewriters, and then the first computer we got, 32 megs of RAM of hard drive. That'll be more than enough. Yeah. 16 kilobyte RAM, and yeah, it's really changed significantly over the last few decades. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And some of the locations that you've been working at have been all over Australia and far north and...
Absolutely. So I suppose from a career timeline, I started on the Gold Coast. I worked at the original Sundale Pharmacy with Ralph Topiano, as did my internship now, but it was pre-reg back in those days. And then I went to work for him in a pharmacy at Nerang, where I managed and became a partner in that pharmacy. Sold out of there after a while and moved up to North Queensland. Lived and worked in around Cairns for nearly 10 years. So working, Mariba, worked in there for a couple of years, driving to and from Cairns 6 days a week. Yeah, and
a big hike.
An hour, yeah, thereabouts. So each way, so made for long days. Yeah, but we shifted back to the Gold Coast in the early 2000s. Bought another pharmacy in Labrador at Sherm Park. Yep. And when I sold that, I started doing locum work, and I've locumed all around Australia, mainly in Queensland, especially when COVID hit. But Western Australia, New South Wales. Yeah.
Any of those stores highlights or, anything that really stands out about what you saw in some of those locations as a pharmacist?
Look, most pharmacies I work in are great. They're really welcoming, particularly in the country areas, and that's where I tend to try and do most of my locum work was in remote and rural areas. The customers really love the fact that they've got a pharmacist that they could come in and talk to, and that's my shtick. I like talking to my customers, so it worked really well. Some pharmacies better resourced than others. That always happens. But overall, it's been fabulous experiences.
That's awesome. And then what led you to here, joining NCC?
NCC. Well, I had done nearly 2 years of locum work up in Cooktown and had come back and decided I really wanted to stay around the Gold Coast and stay at home, So I thought, let's find a job here on the coast. Job popped up for here, and I've always wanted to do compounding ever since I was a young uni student. I did compounding at uni, and you work in pharmacies and you do your simple creams and lotions and mixtures and stuff, but nothing really as intricate and as detailed as what we do here. Yeah. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to expand my horizons.
And I'd love to dig into that now as a newcomer into what is a relatively, it's not complicated, I guess, when you've been in it for a while, but coming from a background of non-compounding to compounding, how did you find?
It was complex to begin with. So getting your head around the actual processes that occur in a compounding pharmacy compared to a normal retail environment is different. And it took a little while to learn those processes. But now that I've been here for a while, it's much easier. There's still get hung up sometimes on certain things you're just not sure about, so you seek help, and that's one of the great things about here is that's always available.
Yeah, cool. So in the early days, as a pharmacist in a relatively unknown area, there were people to other pharmacists to reach out to and chat with.
Uh, Generally less so. It's in it really depends on the structure of the pharmacy. And when had the pharmacy in Narang, it was part of a broad group of pharmacies associated with the Tobianos. And there was always someone that you could fall back on for advice. Working as a locum, generally you don't. Okay, so usually you're the only pharmacist in most country situations, and you have to pick up the ball and run with it. And there's very little fallback other than the immediate staff that might be there in the pharmacy.
Yeah. Yeah. And how does that compare to now? Obviously it's probably a larger team
Yeah,
with a few pharmacists and throw ideas around.
exactly right. So the ability for me to walk over and have a chat to another pharmacist to get their input or feedback on whatever the situation is invaluable, because it's that's still a learning curve. And I think for everyone, it's a learning curve. New things pop up every time, not every day, but regularly, and you have to try and work things out.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so for those that aren't a pharmacist, what does a normal day in NCC look like for you, or a normal week? Because you rotate throughout the week.
Well, we do. We rotate between the different stations, and they have the different types of workload. Okay, so predominantly my role is around checking to make sure that what's being prescribed is what we're supplying, that it is clinically appropriate for the person, and that we uh, supply or give them the support that they require with counseling, that sort of thing, uh, or sorting out problems as they arise. Yeah.
And in terms of giving counseling and conversations with customers and patients, how do you find the difference between your vast experience in community pharmacy and now compounding pharmacy? Obviously they're a similar type of patient, but are they, more in tune with what they're doing? Are they more confused that it's got to be made for them?
It's a good question. I think it's pretty similar. Yeah, everyone is different when you're talking to them. So some people are very switched on about their health and what their medicines do for them. And they're very grateful if you can give them information that they perhaps weren't aware of, that rounds out their information that they already had. Right at to the other end of the spectrum where a person doesn't have a clue what's going on. And, I suppose you have to take it a little bit more slowly and be a bit more thorough with how you talk to them. But I always try to make sure that they understand what I'm talking about, and, give them the opportunity to ask more questions if they're not sure.
Yeah. And I'd love to know too, I mean, the difference as a pharmacist from your own knowledge. Previously in a pharmacy, there's resources available, drug companies make medicine information leaflets and that type of thing. And now you stepped into this relatively unknown space with resources that aren't so heavily published. And
Yeah, look, again, it's interesting. It's sometimes with your commercially available products, they do have perhaps better information based than what we have as a compounder. But there still is a good amount of information, particularly about things that we compound on a regular basis. So the medicines that are commonly compounded, we seem to have a greater depth of information that we can fall back on if need be. If we dig deep enough, we can find information where it needs to be. Sometimes, the information is really scarce, or it doesn't seem to fit what the doctor's trying to achieve. And so, you have to be a little bit circumspect and perhaps try and find a reason behind the doctor's thinking, that sort of thing.
yeah, there are definitely some really unique situations for things used that may commonly not be used. Have you got any that come to mind, or how do you navigate that, like you said, that situation?
Well, a lot of times it's repurposing old drugs for new purposes, for new indications. So, as an example, minoxidil from blood pressure to hair loss, yeah. Naltrexone from, helping people with alcoholism to using it for its anti-inflammatory effects as a low dose,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And generally, I think with the doctors, another one, dextromethorphan for depression.
That's really
Who'd have thought that a cough suppressant could do that?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things, like working out what the doctor's thought processes are and how they're thinking with regards to the prescription is important. Like, that allows us to make a clinical decision as to whether or not it's an appropriate prescription. And if we're not sure, well, ring the doctor. Yeah. Work it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or talk to the patient or talk to the affiliate pharmacy if they're involved, to see if we can get more information to make sure that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, that's a really, really nice way of putting it. I'd love to know, I mean, I think as a pharmacist too, the last 20 years, the way that doctors and specialists, we used to approach them, it was very, perhaps wasn't as interprofessional as it is now. I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings in the compounding space in the early days. Like at the moment, how do you find prescribers in terms of conversation, but based on experience you've had in community pharmacy in the past?
Okay. So I think over time, prescribers have become more receptive to pharmacists. Okay, whether or not that's from what they experience when they're doing their learning in hospitals, that sort of thing. And they've come to respect the knowledge that those pharmacists have shown them, and they're a little bit more receptive to when we ring them, say 20 years ago or 30 years ago, when doctors were always right, and it could have been more problematic getting working stuff out, and so. But I think it's been much better recently. I think the doctors are very approachable, and I think the doctors are quite helpful in giving you insights as to why they're prescribing for whatever purpose it is. And, if you're still not sure, getting them to provide you with some information that they've got, so that we can, double check and make sure it's still valid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also appropriate. Yeah. That's awesome. I'd love to get your thoughts now on compounding and its purpose in pharmacy and greater healthcare.
Good visuals avoid. Okay, so it's something that used to be all the time, and then in the 70s, when more ready prepared products were becoming more readily available, it fell by the wayside, and now it's made a return over the last few decades. Yeah, it's more and more doctors go, okay, well, I know that this medicine will do this, but I can't get it how I want it. Maybe I can get it compounded, okay, and fill that niche.
I'd love to know, from a patient perspective, what are you seeing in what patients understand now about compounding and what they don't?
Okay. Some patients don't understand the compounding process, in that it's not like you go into a pharmacy and there's a product there on the shelf ready to go. That we have to actually make it up for them, and that can take time depending on workload, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they're probably a little bit impatient to begin with, but once they understand the process, then they know that they just need to be perhaps a little bit more organized with supply side of things, so that they get their medicine at an appropriate time.
Yeah.
Ones that have been doing it for a long while, they are just all over it. They know the process and how long it might take, that sort of thing, and they factor that in. I think customers, particularly the ones that get from us all the time, are attuned to the fact that we can perhaps meet a need for them that they can't get in a normal retail situation.
Yeah, gotcha. And what do you think? I mean, yes, over the last 20 years too, has slowly increased. And I remember every year when you talk to a patient, they say, oh, it's gone up by another 10 cents, which for some people can have an effect. How do you find patients when they've got to pay for a $75 item?
Again, I think it comes down to how long, like, are they a new patient and they understand that they've got to pay?
Yeah.
Or are they, someone who's already aware of the fact that it's going to be a bit, I think the patients, when they come in, most of them are okay with the pricing. I think they understand that this isn't an ordinary medicine that you get for $20 or $30 from a pharmacy. This is something that has to be prepared for them specifically. So it takes time, it takes effort. There's more checks involved, and we need to make sure that it's appropriate. So that's, part of the overall factoring in for pricing.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. I'd love to sort of get your thoughts now. You've seen obviously healthcare, and since your career, since becoming a pharmacist in 1984, move to where pharmacy is now and everything that the industry offers. Where do you think pharmacy and compounding pharmacy can go in the next 5 or 10 years?
It's interesting. I think compounding can provide a lot more gap filling. I think with compounding, as there's changes in technologies, improvements in delivery systems, like getting things for customers, access to raw materials, that sort of thing, and our ability to provide different formats of compounding. So, we do troches and capsules and solutions, but there may be other things like talking about gummies or films or patches or anything along those lines. It's things that we haven't been moved into yet, but there's the potential to move in and to fill the voids that are in those areas as well. Yeah. Particularly patches, I think, would be an interesting.
It would be, yeah, yeah. I had a international pharmacist call me the other day, and they were asking about the 3D printer, and I had never thought of the patch application, but apparently Estradot and those types of patches are still unavailable and come in and out of stock.
Yeah.
So they were saying the same thing, that there could be a real opportunity to, like you said, work out a delivery system that can go into a patch to be filled up in a compounding pharmacy for a patient to use.
Like an occlusive dressing with a film of cream over it that they can apply like a patch.
Yeah.
To get the absorption. I mean, it might be a simple solution, but maybe not sustained release, but
something to get it through the upper layers of the skin. Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. I'd love to know your thoughts on we sort of touched on it earlier, but the dynamics in the different teams in NCC. What have you observed and seen since you started here?
Okay. It's a very big group for a pharmacy. Like, there's not too many pharmacies that would have as many people working for them and in such specific areas. Okay, so, you have the admin, then the pharmacists, and then the lab, but they all work together. I think that's one of the strengths of NCC, is that we foster like a collegiate environment where we help each other. And, if we're not sure about things, we can ask questions and work things out together without, it seeming like it's too hard to do, or, why should we be asking this sort of question? And I think that's one of the strengths of the environment that we have, is that over time you guys have developed such a strong teamwork.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear. I think certainly if I look at where we first started, nearly 14 years ago, and where we've got to now, I think with the ups and downs of business, and then also the intricacies and challenges of compounding and the sort of semi-unknown that we work in, the importance of the team kind of highlights the challenges that you go through and need to go through.
And if there is an issue that needs to be addressed, teamwork generally sorts it out and does it much easier than you trying to work it out yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that we're very lucky that, like yourself, coming into the team, we've got a greater depth of knowledge because everyone's previous experiences
Yeah.
together with that sort of.
Everyone has their strengths, and it's harnessing the strengths to better the team.
Yeah.
Is an important factor here.
Yeah, which is a cool segue. You're into your sport.
Yep.
I'd love to know a bit more about Bruce as a team member in person.
Well, I used to play high level rugby. So
And rugby league or rugby union?
union.
All right.
When I was younger at school, up until grade 8, I played rugby league. So junior school was rugby league, and then senior school was rugby union. I didn't play while I was at uni. Too much fun doing other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then took it up again when I graduated and moved back to the Gold Coast and played first grade for a number of years on the Gold Coast and retired a long time ago. And now I think I'm suffering because of my knees.
Yeah.
But that's okay. And other sports, I'm a state level swimmer.
Yeah. Awesome.
When I was younger and in the underages, and did a lot of surfing when I was kind of towards the end of my schooling and university years, just down the beach.
What a location to
Yeah,
Gold Coast, all that.
great for all that. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you probably see the Gold Coast change incredibly over the years too.
Yeah. It's growing. I don't know if the infrastructure's grown as quickly as what it should have.
Yeah.
Shouldn't. But the Gold Coast of 20, 30, 40 years ago is vastly different to what it is now. Yeah. It's, and for good and bad, like lots of traffic congestion now, but you've got a lot of other benefits too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a bit of give and take.
Yeah. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. And yeah.
And you both enjoy living here still?
Yeah.
So the boys are on the coast too.
One son is, and the other one is up at Redland Bay.
That's right.
Yeah. So married with 2 kids. Oh, grandfather.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. So how are those duties coming along? How old are the grandkids now?
Well, we're about to have Tommy and Tilly, and Tommy's 3rd birthday and Tilly's 1st birthday, and they're only a week apart in their birthday, so they're having a combined party in June that we're really looking forward to going and spoiling them rotten.
Yeah, awesome. Do everything they want and then hand them back to their parents. And
Ice cream, Tommy? Sure, it's only 7 in the morning. You'll be fine. No worries.
yeah, that's awesome. We're in the same boat. So yeah, my parents laugh and they go, "We'll give them a great time, and then they're all yours to put to bed."
Fill them full of lollies and hand them back.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what do you think about the state of the Australian rugby team? Because you're going to the game soon.
I'm going to watch the Reds play the Lions when they come in July, and I'm really looking forward to that. I saw the Lions play the last time they were here, both against the Reds and the Wallabies, and it was just awesome atmosphere. Yeah, Suncorp just packed to the rafters, and seeing the anthems when you've got 52,000 people singing, it's just amazing. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't think they're probably at a stage where they're going to do super well. They'll be competitive, but I think the Lions will run over them.
Do you think in general, what's your take again over the last few years for the state of rugby union? Is it stronger, weaker, improving?
It's improving. I think the Reds and the Brumbies in particular, Brumbies are a very strong team, and they've managed to get systems in place to continue that. They've been strong for a long time, and I think a lot of the other teams are trying to play catch up. The Reds, they're going well. It'd be a shame that Les Kiss is going to go coach Australia. I think he's done an enormous amount of work with the Reds to be almost Wayne Bennett-like in instilling the belief that they can actually perform at that level and do well. Yeah. And I think that's one of the keys in elite sport is that it's working on the mind rather than the physical, because most elite sportsmen are going to be good with the physical side of things and the skill side of things. It's just working on their belief systems and making them want to get out there and put in those 1%ers and get better.
Yeah, it's incredible to that sort of high level. Like you said, you experience in your younger years too. It doesn't take much between 0.1% and 0.2% to be the best or
Exactly.
second best.
And having the people behind them to say, you can do this, you've got it, you just have to show it.
Yeah.
And I think, harking back to when I was a swimmer, I finished swimming probably earlier than what I should have. But there was no one there behind me to say, Bruce, try a bit harder, you can probably go somewhere. And you don't work that out until down the track.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Life hands you a few lessons and you go, that's what happened in the previous times.
Yeah, maybe I should have stayed doing it a bit longer. Who knows what would have happened, because as you grow and get stronger and stuff like that, you just don't know where you're going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I'd love to get your take on sort of things that you could impart with a new pharmacist or a new pharmacist team member working in compounding or in NCC, based on your, the last few months since you've joined us. What sort of things can you impart on them to?
I think the first thing is that there's always someone there to answer a question for them. Okay, so if they're not sure and they get stuck, seek help, because it's there. And someone will be able to say, well, this is what we do, or this is the reason why this happens, that sort of thing. I think most pharmacists have got the requisite skills and knowledge level to be able to do the job. It's just getting that confidence to do it by playing a sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's just, I think, the fact that we have weekly team meetings and, the daily huddles and stuff like that, it's good because it's creating that fostering, caring sort of collegiate atmosphere where we're all working together, we're all sorting things out. There's always going to be help if you need it. And you just have to have confidence in yourself that you can get the job done.
Awesome. Yeah. Bit like sport.
Yeah. I think you can take a lot out of sport for as a learning for how to do things. I found over the years managing by doing is a really important factor from a top end side of the pharmacy, showing the staff that you know what you're doing and you're leading by example, always sets a tone. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we can show the newer staff how to do things, so forever saying, has anyone shown you this?
Yeah.
This is how we do it, and help them out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
And sometimes being proactive to do it too, rather than wait for something to happen. You might go, I've just done this, so I'll show them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Where would you like to see yourself in the next 6 to 12 months of compounding?
6 to 12 months. I have an ambition to do more with sterile, work. Kelly has started that process with me, and it's another massive leap forward. But yeah, that's I'm really looking forward to be able to contribute in that area. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. And I think because you've got the systems down pat now, the thing that you'll start to learn and observe is that it's just the risk factors are that much higher when it's a product that's used for a different dosage form.
Yeah.
But like you said, build the confidence and
risk management is another important factor. Like I know with the information that I've gathered over the last 9 months that I've been here, I'm in a much better place to make clinical decisions with compounding than what I was when I first started.
Yeah.
And so with time comes experience, and, your confidence grows from that in being able to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But again, if you're not sure, ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Strength in numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's something about yourself as a teammate that people might not know that you think might humor them, or what's a unique skill set of Bruce look like?
A unique skill set.
Yeah, or a unique piece of Bruce.
Okay. Well, I like to live and love life, and I do have a bit of a quirky sense of humor.
Yeah. Any specific examples?
Well, wherever I've worked, we've always had Worst Stroke Wednesday where everyone has to come in with a bad dad joke. And it always starts off with a bang and everyone's really excited, but then it tends to slip a little bit over time. So doing fun things, just to get everyone talking. So State of Origin Jersey Day,
Yeah.
Halloween, wearing an outfit. Yeah, that's awesome. When they have the birthdays where someone says, wear yellow, you come in with something bright yellow, and just join in the fun of the occasion.
Yeah, I think from memory, your sailor's outfit, there was an outfit you were wearing. What was that?
I wore a shark outfit before Halloween.
Sorry. Yeah, that's it.
And my Santa suit for Christmas Eve. Oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, and I like doing that. It's fun, and hopefully I don't know, step on anyone's toes or anything like that by doing that sort of stuff. But I think it just builds a nicer spirit within the place, because you have to be serious when it's time. You need to be serious, but
Yeah.
don't be serious with yourself too much. Like, do the right thing and apply yourself where you need to, but have fun doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've always said that we spend a lot of time at work, so
Yeah,
you got to enjoy what you do. Otherwise,
exactly. So a big portion of your week is with other people that aren't family.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to work with them and get on well with them. And this place is excellent for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Are there any final words that you'd like to leave us with, or,
Go Reds.
go the Reds? It's been a while between premierships.
Yeah, well, they won a few years back they won, but there was an abbreviated competition because of COVID. So it wasn't, I don't think they were playing the New Zealand teams at that stage. So, yeah.
So kind of possible.
Anything's possible. So it's the thinking upstairs on the day, the want to do it.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I think New Zealand rugby teams have got a better psych than Australia at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. You can almost see it in their eyes when they're before the game starts, they're doing the haka, and
Yeah.
all of those sort of actions are just ready to rock and roll.
Well, I remember when I was playing rugby on the coast and we played against a side from New Zealand that had come over on tour, and they did the haka, and it's intimidating to begin with, but then, you just get in and play rugby.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. It's been lovely to speak to you, learn more about you.
The opportunity has been really good fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like we were saying before we jumped into the chat today, it's the whole purpose of the Capsule Conversation is really just to put us into an environment where you can share and say whatever you feel.
Yeah.
So that everyone can learn more about you and the team, and we can sort of unpack what compounding is to the greater world. And
I actually enjoy the compounding. I've always enjoyed making the creams and all that sort of stuff when I was at uni and working in retail pharmacy, and this is just sort of fulfills an ambition to do more in compounding. So it's great.
yeah, it's awesome. So thank you very much for all you do, Bruce, and
Welcome.
it's been lovely to chat to you today.
It's been great. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Perfect.